Hello everyone, my name is Maria Tsanova and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this webinar today. It is dedicated to migration due to climate change, which is a topic of major relevance today. I'm presenting to you as a project manager at ASSEDEL, which stands for l'Association européenne pour la défense des droits et des libertés. It is a non-profit organization based in Strasbourg in France, whose objective is to disseminate, promote and defend human rights and fundamental freedoms in the spirit of the European Convention on Human Rights, both within the Council of Europe system and at the local, national and international levels. Our association submits reports to worldwide organizations, informs the public and publishes opinion articles about human rights violations and humanitarian issues such as immigration, women's rights, discrimination, new technologies, environment, children's rights, education, freedom of speech, rule of law and democracy. It is with the kind help of our partner ACCP, which stands for Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté, and is based in Togo, Africa, that we organize this webinar for you. This webinar closely inspects the links between climate change and migration in the region. Now it is my pleasure to give the word to Director of ACCP, Mr. Kofi Treko.
Hello everyone, my name is Kofi Treku. I am the director of the NGO Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté, ACCP. I accepted this role because of my interest in helping to improve the living condition of those who are experiencing various hardship. I have the pleasure to give the floor to my colleague Yaote Ganyaglok-Foli, who will share with you his expertise on migration due to climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kofi Treku, the Managing Director of ACCP, that is Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté. Thank you once again for, giving me the opportunity to share my expertise with the whole communities, on migration related to climate change. I would like to congratulate you and the whole staff for all you have been doing so far in favor of vulnerable populations. My name is Mr. Yaote Foli, and it gladdens me to present this specific topic on this specific occasion. But before getting to the topic itself, allow me to briefly present what the Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté stands for. And on that note, I'll be saying that Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté, ACCP, is a non-governmental, humanitarian, non-political, and non-profit organization. It was created on February 20, 2013 to make its contribution to improve the living conditions of impoverished populations in Togo. Its creation was motivated by alarming observations of human rights violations, the population's stubborn poverty, the miserable and very precarious living conditions of impoverished populations, the inaccessibility of many communities to basic social services, the education and health systems, which have notable weaknesses. There is disrespect to basic rights and the perverse, effects of STI, HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases which are ignored. The Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté, ACCP, aims, through collective effort, to restore hope in Togo's impoverished society. Today, the Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté ACCP is active in various fields such as, promotion of human rights, access to education, improvements of health conditions, environmental preservation, water, and sanitation, food security and community development, all these to contribute to the achievements of the Sustainable Development Goals. The NGO, Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté uses the following intervention strategies. Number 1, community mobilization. Number 2, awareness raising of target groups. Number 3, education and training. And number 4, the management and implementation of projects with and for beneficiaries. The NGO ACCP has the following governance, bodies. First, a General Assembly. Second, a Board of Directors. Third, a statutory, auditor. Fourth, an executive management. And the NGO Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté, has already successfully implemented several projects. Well, coming back to the topic itself, it is very crucial to note that climate change is exercising various types of pressure on the environment and on people's livelihoods, including affecting their access to clean water and food resources. Today, extreme climatic phenomena are, on the increase, often with devastating effects, including floods, heat waves, droughts, and bushfires. These climatic changes pose a major threat to the most disadvantaged. This is because the poorest communities are, often the most exposed to climate risk. They are the most vulnerable to the harmful consequences of, climate change, and they do not have sufficient means to cope with the damage caused by, climate change. In short, climate change has serious economic and social consequences, particularly for the poorest populations. It increases the displacement of populations. Indeed, climate change, environmental degradation, and natural disasters are being increasingly correlated with refugee displacement factors. Most of the population movements caused by natural hazards or climate change, take place within a single country. And in the remaining time of the webinar, we'll be looking at the causes and consequences of this situation, approaches to climate adaptation measures, and migratory flows due to climate change. Climate migration is the movement of a person or group of people who, mainly for reasons of sudden or gradual environmental shifts due to climate change, are obliged to leave their usual place of residence or choose to do so temporarily or permanently within a state or across international borders. Climate migrants, therefore, is someone who has to leave his or her home or land because it has become uninhabitable due to climate disruption. Climate change and climate migration have many causes, and they include heat waves, droughts, desertification, soil degradation, salinization of the land, unpredictable variations in rainfall, reduced water reserves in some areas, flooding, rising sea levels, and the proliferation of parasites and diseases. In Togo, the intensity of rainfall in June and over the past month, that is May 2024, has caused flooding in several locations. These floods mainly affect the health of the poor, who are often victims of certain waterborne diseases. Moreover, education systems face challenges since most schools are flooded. This leads to an increased school absenteeism rate in these areas. Additionally, communications, that is, some localities are landlocked, and farming areas with considerable losses of agricultural produce. Climate change, with its various causes, is having a serious impact on agriculture. In watershed areas, for example, agricultural production such as millet, sorghum, maize, cowpeas, rice, and groundnuts declined during flood periods. In Togo, poultry and animals were lost and drowned during floods. There has also been marked a sharp rise in cases of malaria and diarrhea among people living in flooded areas in Togo during periods of flooding, demonstrating the close link between rainfall and the recurrence of these diseases. The prevalence of other diseases such as diarrhea, cholera, dysentery, and typhoid fever is also recorded during periods of flooding in Togo. Drought, desertification, salinization of the land, and flooding all contribute to household poverty and famine in Togo, and to the deterioration of the population's health. Faced with such an extreme climatic hazards, the region's farms are increasingly vulnerable and directly threatened by famine. In Togo, when climatic phenomena such as floods, desertification, and drought happen, The populations affected by the situation migrate to other locations within Togo. They rely on the help of relatives, friends, and churches to find accommodation until the situation gets improved. In addition, people affected by climate change in Togo's vulnerable villages and communities are, migrating to the country's major cities. Today, Togo is faced with recurrent climate disruption events, floods, and forest fires, all of which weaken human and environmental systems. It is clear that this situation is not without consequences for society and the environment. In view of these phenomena and the seriousness of their impacts, the question of risk management and the high vulnerability of the populations in the concerned areas arises. We also note that the legal protection of people forced to leave their homes and countries for environmental reasons leaves much to be desired, for there is no legal definition of the status of these people and no specific international body responsible for overseeing the protection of their rights. Note also that it is difficult to settle elsewhere as the status of climate refugee does not exist, unlike that of political refugee. Faced with this situation, the NGO Action Collective Contre la Pauvreté, ACCP, is seeking the support of the ASSEDEL association, thematic organizations, technical and financial partners to find innovative solutions to manage these problems sustainably and improve the living conditions of the concerned populations. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for this detailed analysis of the occurrence of migration due to climate change in the region of Togo, Africa. Indeed, it is clear that unfortunately to this day, African communities are facing challenges of various nature. Now it's time for us to proceed with the Q&A session so that our audience can be even more informed on such a relevant topic. Why is it important that the status of a climate refugee is officially defined?
Well, while there are political and other forms of refugee status, we also think it would be a good idea to define an official climate refugee status. Indeed, when people are politically threatened in their own countries, the immigration service gives them visas. But this opportunity is not available for people affected by, the consequences of climate change, some of whom may want to go abroad to seek better living conditions.
What are some ecological shocks caused by climate change?
Good. Some ecological shocks are, among others, food insecurity, water risk, and natural disasters. And such shocks significantly reduce the margins of short-term adaptation for African farmers, to be short.
Why is it the case that people in less developed countries suffer disproportionately from the detrimental effects of climate change?
People in poor countries often, lack the resources to overcome the challenges posed by, the effects of climate change. And because of their difficult living conditions, these people do not have the means to make plans for, managing this situation.
Is there a discernible pattern indicating that climate change and the resulting migration disproportionately affect the female population in Africa in comparison to the male one?
Well, there can be identified a pattern of, the female African population being more vulnerable and negatively affected by climate change and, the consequent migration in comparison to the male population. And this is a multi-layered issue which is still present nowadays due to some established social norms and imposed differentiations of powers. Of course, women do not bear equal responsibility for securing food, water, energy sources such as firewood and other vital resources, as well as, for caring for the vulnerable members of their families, the young and elderly.
Does climate adaptation pose a risk of climate gentrification?
Well, before answering that question, it is crucially important, to know what the concept of gentrification is. And if we are to consider gentrification as a process in which a poor area experiences an influx of middle class or, wealthy people who renovate and rebuild homes and, businesses, okay, and which often results in an increase in property values and the displacement of earlier, usually poorer residents, then we can affirm that the phenomenon of climate gentrification exists in Togo, but not in the broad sense. Okay, put differently, wealthy people sometimes take advantage of flood situations to buy land from the natives of vulnerable areas or from the owners of these areas subject to flooding. So they eventually invest to build stable housing.
What actions mean commitment to climate justice?
Well, climate justice starts with gaining knowledge and understanding and then taking action to protect communities as well as nature. First of all, it is vital that there is a functional risk mapping of conflict affected communities to target action, where it is most needed, investment in innovation resilience, and anticipatory action designed for conflict setting, okay, and international partnerships and collaboration.
With that, our webinar dedicated to migration due to climate change has come to an end. Both ASSEDEL and NGO ACCP are dedicating significant efforts to raising awareness and finding solutions in order to help African communities lead a healthier life in a safer and more sustainable environment. I would like to thank our partner, NGO ACCP, for your kind participation today. Thank you so much for sharing your first-hand experience with us, and to the audience, thank you for watching.